Welcome back, y'all. So today, I'm going to be attempting to do the base idle reset and set the timing and everything on the Fox body. I also have to get it warmed up so I can burp the coolant from taking the radiator out. Seeing as how I don't know what the timing was set at, however it did run before, that's at least one thing we got going for us. But being that it's a new throttle body, I'm going to have to go through the process of setting the idle on the throttle body and setting the TPS and all that. So stay tuned. I'm going to get this thing, it's been sitting for a while, so I really need to jump it off. So let me get that going and hopefully we'll see if it cranks up on the first try with the way it's set up right now. So hang on. Okay, so just a quick update. Having to charge the battery off the Lightning again. So the car has this old Viper alarm, you know, on it, and it's draining the battery. Well, and then now it's in theft mode. It's not letting me it's not letting it do anything when you try to start it. So unfortunately both remotes were dead, so waiting on wife to go get some batteries for the remotes. Hopefully we can get it unlocked. I will eventually be taking that alarm out of it because it's draining the battery and it's just annoying. I mean, you know, the 90s, you know, faxed over that they want their alarm back. But anyway, I'll report back once I get it started and we'll go from there. Hey, welcome back, y'all. So as I mentioned in the last video, I'm going to be showing you how to set the base idle on a Fox body in this video. Some tools you're going to need. Real quick, go over this stuff. You're going to need I'll tell you which size this is. I think it's yeah. You're going to need a 3mm Allen wrench. This is if you have the SV throttle body. You're going to need a 3mm Allen wrench for the idle set screw, a 10mm socket or wrench for the jam nut for this idle set screw, a 4mm Allen wrench for the throttle position sensor. If you have that, if not, you would have to hog out your throttle position sensor holes and use the Phillips head adjustment. The aftermarket throttle body makes it a lot easier. But you need those three things. You'll need a voltmeter and a timing light, basic timing light. So, with all that being said, let's get started. First thing you're going to want to do is set your timing. Well, you want to try to get the car to idle up to temperature, and then you'll set your timing. So let me set y'all over here real quick. Okay, so I got the timing light plugged up to the battery. It's plugged into the number 1 cylinder plug wire. So you're going to take your spout connector out, which is right here. I can't do it with one hand because mine still has to connect the clips on it. That's what your spout connector looks like. So now it's locked at whatever timing set at, which for me, I know is 12 degrees. So try to look down in there and kind of see where the timing marks are, I hope. If it wasn't where you wanted it to be, you need to get a 1/2 inch ratchet, that's another tool you need, 1/2-inch socket, and adjust. You just gotta loosen the lock bolt for the distributor, and you would just simply twist your distributor till the timing gets to where you want it. I'm not gonna mess with that much because I've already got it set, but that's how you would do that. So once that's done, you're gonna take your plug, put it back in. You're pretty much done with the timing light at that point. Trying to do this. Apologize if I'm cutting corners here, but my TFI is going bad, so I don't want to. I'm trying to do this in one take. Once you get your timing set, you would unplug your idle air control. Okay. You take your 10mm and undo this jam nut right there. Then you're going to take your 3mm and lefty-loosey to lower the idle, righty-tighty to raise the idle. Ideally, you want it to barely be running off the idle set screw. I've got the idle set a little bit high because at the moment, pushing the clutch in, the car doesn't want to recover and maintain idle. It wants to stall. So just for safety's sake, while I'm figuring things out, I've got the idle set a little bit higher. But once you get the idle where you want it, you reset your jam nut, lock it back down. Then you're going to take the ignition, you're going to shut the car off. Turn the key back on to run. And I will set y'all right here for now. Hopefully I'm getting the right angle here. Let's see, okay. All right. So next you would take your voltmeter. You can set it for 2 or 20 volts, it really doesn't matter. You want to ground the negative. I found the easiest way to do that is just to run it to the negative on the battery. I usually set the voltmeter on the intake, and then you want to probe the green wire of your TPS. And so, as you can see, key and run, not running. You want it somewhere around 0.8 to 0.98 volts. And that's kind of hard for me to show that. Let me see. Anywhere in there is fine. If you needed to lower it or raise it, you take your 4mm, loosen these 2 hex nuts or hex bolts, and just twist the throttle position sensor in this housing until you get the voltage you want. Once you do, you want to hold it steady, tighten them down, check it again, because you might have to readjust it. That's why I say anywhere in between 0.8 and 0.98. You don't want it on the very edge, because when you tighten it, you might throw it off. So just a word of tip there, word of warning. Pretty easy, especially with those aftermarket throttle bodies. Once you do that, turn your key all the way off. Plug in your idle air control valve. And crank her back up. Now, you're gonna let it, excuse me, you're gonna let it run for a little bit. It might do some funky stuff and idle after a few minutes. That's okay. Let it do its thing. Make sure you let it run up all the way to temperature. Once it's done that, not done yet. You got one more thing to do. You want it to learn its idle with no load. And then you want to come in here, once it's done that, turn on everything you can. Headlights, turn the AC all the way up if you got it, or turn it on heat all the way, fan blowing full blast. Just put a load on the system. Let it run for a few minutes like that. Then, once you're done with that, you're pretty much set. I would recommend, depending on your setup, going and test driving it. Make sure it's how you like it. You might have to fiddle with it a few times, but once you've done it once, it goes faster every time because you kind of get the hang of the steps, and it just goes faster, and you get closer and closer to where you're going to be. So, for example, it took me about three goes at it to get it where I wanted it yesterday. But by the last time, I didn't even have to adjust the throttle position sensor. It was good to go still from the previous setting. Yeah, it was just, I only adjusted it just a little bit. So anyway, this is gonna be a really quick one, but that's how you set the base idle on a Fox body. Set the base timing. I recommend 10 to 12 degrees, depending on your setup. If you're running high compression and all this and that, high octane, it'll probably be different. But then again, by then you probably have an aftermarket computer, or you're tuning it with the quarter horse, if you happen to have one still. Things like that. At that point, you already know these things. But if you're just starting out with a basic Fox body like this, 10 to 12 degrees generally is going to get you where you need to be. Any higher, you start getting into some other issues. Any lower, you're getting into other issues. So, anyway, yeah, so that's pretty much that. If you like this kind of stuff, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. One of these days, I'm going to get that word right. But yeah, until next time, I'll be back.